Hey, Murray,
Hey, Bob.
how we doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I tell you, I like to take this Zoom and shove it up somebody's Zoom and Zoom. I mean, it's like, I know it's okay once in a while, but it's like everything is at work now. We do all teleconferences and all that, it's like, and I know you have to do it because of what's going on, but it's still not my cup of tea.
Yeah. I had a Zoom meeting yesterday for the Tosca, and
Okay.
my internet was all messed up and I kept losing it. And it took me 15 minutes. I was 15 minutes late joining the meeting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, well.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, I guess this is better than nothing. So
Well,
this is
yeah.
what we have.
Someday we'll maybe be back and able to bump elbows or something.
Yeah. I was thinking, I think, we don't realize how we feel about being in a room like that with everyone, and being able to carry on conversations and see people, they're right next to you, whatever. So it's,
Yeah.
this is just not something.
Not the same, is it?
No, not my cup of tea, as they would say. But anyway, I guess it works for right now. So, but I hope that one of these days they find a vaccine or something that's going to help with the virus. I don't know. Sounds like once in a while they say they're getting close, but it's going to take a while. Better than I do because of your background, how long it takes to develop something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I heard, I was listening to Mark Levin this morning, and Isaac Newton in 16 something came up with a solution or a cure for the plague. Frog vomit.
Mm.
What you do is you take a frog and you hang it in the chimney for 3 days by its legs and catch the vomit on a piece of yellow plastic or yellow wax.
Uh-huh.
And after the third day, you dry the frog. The frog's all dried out. So you put it up, make a powder using the frog vomit and the frog, and you make it into a lozenge, and that cures the plague.
Wow.
That may be our next vaccine.
Well, you never know because, oh God, it's like.
Hey, it worked back then.
Well, I was talking to someone the other day. My mom was from the old school. Of course, when she was growing up, they didn't have any money. Everyone was poor. And so there was a lot of medical remedies that they did at home. And a lot of them did work, I know because.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was just, they were time proven and all that. But, anymore, there's so many different medicines out there to take, you hear these commercials, but they'll have this disclaimer in it. Hey, Michael, you're looking good.
Hey, guys. Hey, Mayor.
Now that he's up, not sideways again.
Like
I'm finally getting this thing figured out after 2 months.
you look like you're right now.
About the time you get it figured out, it'll be time to start over.
I know. I hear you.
I like your background.
What's that, Mayor?
I like your background. You had some sailboats or something back there.
Yeah, that was Annapolis downtown, and then the dome in the background is the chapel on campus.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
wow.
so
pretty nice.
Yeah, it's a nice community. It's really nice over there.
Oh gosh,
hey, Mayor, just a heads up, no Casey tonight.
No Casey tonight.
Okay. Yeah, no Casey.
Okay.
And I think she's probably on here already, but we'll have Carrie will be our city attorney tonight.
Okay, Carrie. Okay, great. Carrie's good. Yeah. We were just talking just before you got on. Someday we're going to get back to being in our regular setting that we normally have for council meeting, you know. It's such a beautiful room. It's unfortunate we can't use it.
Yeah, hopefully soon. Then we'll get some guidance here soon. So
Yeah, we see things opening up. I know that the restaurants in town are starting to open up. I see what's it, Chinese restaurants opening back up, and so I went. In fact, I went to Coletto's the other day for lunch, and there was a few people there. Hey, Karen, how you doing?
Hi, Carrie.
Hi, everyone.
You ready?
Hey, Lou.
We got a little bit of time.
Yeah. Anyway, we're just talking about getting back to normal, whatever that means anymore.
Something different than what we had.
Yeah, I know, Carrie. It is what it is, but I guess this is better than not having meetings.
Yeah.
We'd have to let our city manager run the city, and we can't do that.
no.
It would just run wild. Hey, Leroy.
You know what happens? Buildings start burning down.
Good afternoon,
when stuff
gentlemen.
like that happens.
Anyway,
Still trying to connect.
You're good, Leroy. We're here.
Leroy, we hear you.
Okay. Oh, great.
It's,
Good afternoon.
join us.
And then Nick might be a little bit late as well, Mayor. So
well, okay, whatever you want to do, we do have a quorum, but
yeah, we do have a quorum. So
okay. You want to wait a little bit more, Nick? I mean, Mike?
You got a minute?
A little longer? Michael?
yeah, I have mine saying 5. Oh, I just turned 6 o'clock, Mayor. So whenever you're ready.
Right. It's 6
Okay,
o'clock.
we'll start. Carrie, just a quick question to you. Did you want to read the headlines as far as I'll open the meeting, and then you want to do notice this meeting will be held in accordance with, or you want me to read?
I can read it if you'd like.
You want me to read it?
You go for it.
Okay, here we go. Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Newman City Council regular meeting, June 9th, 2020. Notice, this meeting will be held in accordance with Executive Order N-29-20, issued by California Governor Gavin Newsom on March 17, 2020. The Ralph M. Brown Act, California Government Code Section 54950 ET-SEQ, and the Federal Americans with Disability Act. This meeting will not be physically open to the public. All members of the public may participate in the meeting video conferencing at, and that information, I guess it's the number is 984-351-29303, and via teleconferencing by calling 669-900-6833. Meeting ID is 984-3512-9303, and will be given the opportunity to provide public comments. With that, I'd like to have call to order, Michael.
We'll do the pledge and then the invocation, then I'll do roll call.
You don't want to do the call to order before the pledge?
You do the call to order.
Okay, I did it. Okay, well, I'm standing up, and everybody like to stand up. We'll say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Murray, could we have, excuse me,
Yes, sir.
invocation?
Yes, sir. I'm going to sit so I can see it.
Okay.
Okay. Our thought for the day: never give in. Never, 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 never. In nothing, great or small, large or petty. Never give in except to convictions of honor and good sense. Never yield to force. Never yield to the apparently overwhelming might of the enemy. So said Winston Churchill. Let's pray. Most gracious Father, we thank you tonight for the opportunity to serve our community. We ask your blessings on this council and on the community. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Thank you, Marie. Do we have roll call, Michael?
Sure. Councilmember Day,
Present?
Councilmember Graham, Councilmember McDonald,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Candia, Mayor Martina.
Here. Okay, we'll move on to item 5, which is declaration of conflict of interest.
None tonight.
None tonight, thank you. 6 is ceremonial matters, and there's none tonight. We'll move on to item 7, items from the public, non-agenda items. So at this time, if anyone wants to speak to the council, please inform our attorney and she will allow you to speak to us. But please state your name and address for the record.
I don't see anyone.
Okay, you don't see anyone, then we're going to move on to item 8. Item 8 is the consent calendar. Waive all readings of ordinance and resolutions except by title. B, approval of warrants. C, approval of minutes of the May 26, 2020 meeting. D, approval of letter of support for the city of Newman. Proposals 1, stormwater grant program implementation project.
Move for approval of the consent calendar as read.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried with 2 absent. Moving on to number 9, which is a public hearing. A, adopt resolution number 2020, next number, a resolution declaring the existence of public nuisance under ordinance number 95-4.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll go ahead and take this one. So in the 1995, Newman City Council adopted an ordinance, which is basically a public nuisance ordinance. Section 8.0203 says it shall be unlawful for any responsible person to keep or maintain their premises under his or her control in a condition detrimental to the public health and safety and general welfare. So as you know, our community service officer will go about through the community and take a look at properties and see if they're having a detrimental effect on the neighborhood. In this particular case, we're looking at 638 Cedar Mountain Drive. Pictures are a part of your staff report there. These pictures will show you a lot of overgrown landscaping, some dried out landscaping. So it's not in keeping with the character of the rest of the residentials in there. So our community service officer went back out today, found that the condition has not changed. It does meet our definition of a public nuisance. So therefore, tonight we're asking you to conduct a public hearing, giving the property owner and any other affected property owner the ability to comment on this. And then after such time, we're recommending that you allow the city to abate this process by adopting the attached resolution.
Okay. With this, are there any comments from the council at this time?
Is the property currently vacant?
I don't have that information in front of me. I'm sorry, council member.
That's okay. That's all right.
May I jump in?
Yes, it's Allie. She manages our CSO. Yes, Allie.
That property is not vacant. There is a resident currently at that property.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Allie.
Let me ask this then of Allie. Have anyone contacted them personal, like on the from person to person?
We have our CSO. Hello.
Go ahead, Allie.
Our CSO goes out there twice to, first she does a written warning and attempts to contact the homeowner. The homeowner then is contacted again regarding a notice, and then one more time regarding the final notice for the abatement. Now the homeowner has been contacted via phone as well, so they have had some communication back and forth in regards
guess the only reason why I brought that up is because, Mike, is that if it's an elderly person that can't get the work done or something like that, that we might look at it in a different way.
Yeah,
Correct.
and
This property
Well-
owner,
The ordinance doesn't provide for any,
I want to hear what she had to say, Mary. Hold on. Let her talk.
I didn't hear her talking, thank you.
sorry about that. The ordinance there, as Marie was dictating, doesn't state a specific age or any of that nature. Now, this homeowner, through this whole process, is given about a month to fix or clean up their property before it is turned into the city council. They've now had at least a month to remediate the situation. And they will continue to probably have another week or so after this meeting to remediate. By the time we have people to go look at it and bids, it'll generally take within a week to a week and a half to actually have the whole process finished.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, thank you, Ally. If there's no other comments at this time, I'm going to open it to the public for any comments that anyone has.
Carrie, is anybody raising their hand?
No one is raising their hand.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Carrie. With that, I'll bring it back to the council for direction.
Move we adopt resolution number 2020 next in number, resolution declaring the existence of a public nuisance under ordinance number 95-4.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried 3 with 2 absent. Okay, we'll move on to item 10, which is regular business. Approve fiscal year 2020-2021 annual budget as presented in the preliminary budget document. 1, adopt resolution number 2020, next number, a resolution establishing fiscal year 2020 and 2021 GA and appropriation limits. And the second part of that is adopt resolution number 2020, a resolution adopting the budget for the fiscal year 2020 to 2021. Now, Carrie, we should take each one of those separate, correct?
Yes, please.
Okay. So,
I'll present each of them one at a time. The first one is our GAN appropriations limit. The Revenue and Taxation Code, Section 7910, requires us each year to establish an appropriations limit. This is an amount that is the maximum amount of taxes that we can appropriate to run our city for the year. This calculation started back in 1978, 1979, and has been adjusted forward every year based on population and income. So at this point, we're at $15,700,490. And this is well above what we actually budget for each year. We budget in the $6 million range, but we have to adopt this appropriations limit number every year. So if you have any questions on it, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
any questions for the council? Okay, there being no questions, I'm going to open this up to the public for any comment.
No raised hands.
No comment. Okay, I'm bringing it back to the council for direction.
Move for adoption of resolution number 2020 next in number, a resolution establishing fiscal year 2021 GAN appropriations limit.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 3-2. 3 votes and 2 absent. Okay, second part.
Hey, Bob. Mayor?
Yes.
Nick is here.
Nick
Who's
is
that,
here.
please?
Nick is here.
Nick's okay.
I'm here.
Okay,
Oh, hi,
that's, we got you now.
I recorded Nick's vote on that last motion.
You want to what? I'm sorry?
I recorded that Nick's vote on that last motion.
So it was.
Oh, you wanted Nick's vote to be recorded on last one?
So it
No,
should be
I've got
4-0.
it. I'm just letting you know, Mayor.
Okay. Okay, so it'd be 4-1. Okay,
4-0 with 1 absent.
right. Okay, did you want to take the second part, Lou?
Sure.
Or,
Well, this part's a lot easier than previous years where I talked for about 40 minutes. We're just going to go over the highlights this year on the budget. And then if you have any questions, I'll stop after our major sections and you guys can ask them. Just real brief, if you have a copy of the budget in front of you,
which page, Lou?
You're mute, Lou.
how did I
There
get
we go.
muted? Okay. I must have hit the space bar or something. On page 5 is where
Page
we're
five.
at, the summary.
Okay,
Okay, so we have 34 funds altogether. 29 of them are active funds that we are budgeting for. If you're looking at each of the fund balances, the bottom line shows our projected ending balance of each of the funds that we're budgeting. There are 4 funds over the next 3 pages that are projected to have a negative balance. The first one is the CDBG fund, and that is just because of the timing of when we receive revenues versus our expenditures. The second one is the gas tax fund. The gas tax fund, fund number 21, we transfer monies at the end of the year to the general fund based on the expenditures that we have in the general fund on streets and roads. So in here, even though it's projected as a negative number, we're actually won't transfer more than what will leave the fund with a 0 balance. And depending on how much money we actually receive and how much money we actually expend, it can vary quite a bit. The next one is our Measure L fund. This is from the projects that we did a couple of years back. And we're projected in fiscal year 21-22, we'll have back to a positive balance. And the last one is the SB1, and that's because we have some big projects planned for that one. And the same thing on that, we're projected to have that balance back to positive in 2021-22 as well. Now, we used to have another fund, which is our storm fund, Fund 42, that used to have a negative balance. But some of the liabilities, or one of the major liabilities that we had on there, expired under a contract. So we're no longer required to reimburse that developer. So that was written off, and that fund now has a positive balance. So that's just a quick overall on all the funds. So we'll take a look at the general fund. If you want to turn to page 5. Well, actually, we're on page 5. Yeah, we can look at page 5. So you can see that we're projecting near the bottom on that very first column, a $631,000 deficit. Now, over the last 5 years, we have projected on an average a deficit of $463,613. The highest projected deficit year was 2018-19, which we projected a $662,000 deficit. However, in actuality, from July 1st, 2014 until June 30th of 2019, which is a 5-year period that's been audited, the general fund balance only dropped by $4,000. So despite our large deficits, we've actually been able to maintain a fairly consistent general fund balance. If we want to change to page 10, and I apologize for the very small print. We have so many revenue funds out of the general fund that we barely get them on one page. But just in real brief, we're budgeting a reduced amount of property tax revenues, partly because we're trying to be conservative. We're not exactly sure how much the COVID is going to affect market. At this point, we're not seeing that much. Projections that I looked at this morning, they were thinking over the next year that property values may drop only 1%. So we've kind of over budgeted for the reduction on that one, but I think we'll be okay on that. The other is we've reduced building permit revenues. Currently, we have 7 remaining lots in town. So we're not projecting at this point a lot until our northwest quadrant opens up, and then it should jump up substantially. The next was an increase in the motor vehicle license fees. This one is calculated by the state, and they send us numbers, so we're using their figures. And then overall, our revenues are projected to increase by about $100,000 over the amount we budgeted last year. If I want to turn to page 14, which is a summary of the general fund expenditures. And just real brief on that, if you look at the 2019-20 adopted budget down at the very bottom versus what the departments are requesting and the manager recommends for 2021, you're seeing that we've only budgeted $100,000 increase in costs. We're trying to stay consistent with our budgeted revenues, try and provide the same level of services to our residents that we've been providing in the past. We're not going out and doing any major purchases, just trying to stay consistent with what we've been doing in the past. Okay, so that's the general fund. Does anybody have any questions on that?
No.
Okay, so if you move on to page 102, we'll touch on our two enterprise funds, water and sewer. First one's going to be our sewer fund. We're projected increase in revenues due to a few more homes, not many over last year, and then also rate increases. Those will generate more revenues for us. Our expenditures are lower due to fewer contract services, and we're projecting an increase in fund balances of about $835,000, which will help us with future projects that we have coming up. And if you want to turn to page 106 for the water fund, we're also projecting an increase in revenues due to a few more homes and rate increases as well. Our costs are increasing by about $100,000 due to transfers to the water capital fund and also because of salaries and benefits, which are based on maintenance of our MOU agreements with unions and with other groups. We're also projecting an increase in fund balance of about $410,000, which is good. In a few years, I think we're still about 2 to 3 years out for our first payment that would be due on the Well 10 project, which is, we're estimating right around $240,000, $250,000, depending on how the project costs come out. So being able to have a positive increase in our general fund or in our water fund balance each year will go towards paying for those costs. The other good thing is that we currently do have a water loan that we're paying off, and it will be paid off before we have to start making payments on this new debt. So we won't have two loans running at the same time. And then if you're looking at the cost for the Well 10 project are not located under Fund 63. They're under Fund 64, which is the Capital Water Fund, which is on page 124. Any questions on either of those two?
Nope.
Okay, so just lastly, a few other notables. Under our state grant fund, we're budgeting for a grant $600,000 for a wetlands restoration project. We've also got a $510,000 state grant to pay for a consultant to develop a plan for upgrading our sewer line from the city out to the wastewater treatment facility. We have several funding sources in the budget for streets and intersection improvements. We have monies from federal grants, from our local transportation fund reserves, and also from the state SB1. And then lastly, on page 126, which is the very last page of the budget, we list our other asset purchases. And just kind of quickly going through those, we're budgeting for 15 computers that'll be going throughout the city at various locations, 2 video servers, some replacement phones, a vehicle extraction RAM for our fire department. We're also making the final payment on our SCBA, which was the self-contained breathing apparatus purchase we did with the city of Patterson. The wastewater treatment plant is requesting purchases for a sampler, a welder, a plasma cutter, and a water truck. And then our police department is budgeting for a fully outfitted police vehicle. Now, during the budget process, we notified staff that we're going to be keeping an eye on our revenue performance during the year to see how much it's going to be affected by the current events. We've asked them to hold off on their bigger asset purchases until we're more confident that our revenues are performing as budgeted. Like I said before, our housing budget, property taxes are projecting about a 1% decrease. Also, in looking at the S&P 500 today, it's actually up over what it was a year ago. So despite having gone through the issues at the beginning of the year, there is still a positive outlook by the investment community that our economy is going to turn around and do well. And then in looking at some of the other people that we invest funds with, the outlook is positive. They believe that there was we entered the recession back at the beginning of February, but that it's starting to it has bottomed out at this point and is starting to turn around. So there's a lot of positive confidence out there in the people that things are going to get better. And when that happens, businesses are doing better, people start going back to work. And so at this point, we're leaning more on the positive side that things are going to be better. But we still want to be cautious at the initial part of our budget year. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Any questions of Lou?
Well-prepared budget.
Thank you.
Excellent job, Lou. With that, I would like to open it to the public for any comments they may have.
No raised hands.
Okay, I'll bring it back to the council for direction.
Just one last question before we go ahead. This is the adopted budget for the year. We do have a mid-year review that will allow us to make adjustments based on income and also on projected expenses.
That's correct. That
Okay.
usually happens in February.
All right, very good. Just wanted to confirm that. Okay, I move that we adopt resolution number 2020, next in number, a resolution adopting the budget for the fiscal year 2020 and 2021.
I second that.
I'll second. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0 with one absent.
Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to B. Second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2020, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Newman, adding chapter 8.1 hemp cultivation to title 8 health and sanitation of the Newman Municipal Code to prohibit the outdoor cultivation of industrial hemp and authorize staff to publish a summary of said ordinance.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll take this one. Again, I'm going to give you a quick refresher. It was 2018 on the Farm Bill that the federal government basically declassified industrial hemp as no longer considered a federally controlled substance. To follow up on that, in September 2018, California passed SB 1409, the California Industrial Hemp Farming Act, which now legalized the farming of industrial hemp. The main difference between industrial hemp and like cannabis is the THC level, which is the intoxication level. And this one has a very low content, and it doesn't not considered as a controlled substance anymore. So on your May 26th meeting, this item was introduced. We received no comment from the public. Again, what this ordinance does is it prohibits the outdoor cultivation of industrial hemp in all zoning districts within the city. So this project is actually exempt from CEQA. So with that, we are recommending that you conduct a second reading and followed by adopting the ordinance. And I can answer any questions you may have.
Council have any questions to the city manager? If not, then I'd like to open up to public for any comment they may have.
Seeing no raised hands.
Thank you. Bring it back to the council for direction.
Nick?
I'll make a motion. We adopt the second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2020 next to number, an ordinance of the City of Council, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Newman, adding Chapter 8.10 Hemp Cultivation to Title 8 Health and Sanitation of the Newman Municipal Code to prohibit the outdoor cultivation of industrial hemp and authorize staff to publish a summary of said ordinance.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried 4-0 with one absent. Thank you. Moving on to item 11. Item 11 is District 5 Stanislaus County Supervisor, Mr. Jim DeMartini. Welcome, Jim.
Take your mute off.
You're on mute, Jim.
Okay, I know you were there. Are you still on the line?
There you go. You had it.
Oh, you're welcome. Muted again.
Okay, Jim, are you ready?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, as you can see, I'm not very computer literate. So.
We're all in the same boat, so don't worry.
Yeah, really.
Good evening, Mayor Martina and member of the council there. I'm looking forward to actually being there in person someday soon.
Yes.
So I have a few things tonight. Some of them you'll find a little interesting. First of all, we had another meeting today on the Crow's Landing Industrial Park Finance Authority. We're putting that together. It's pretty far along now, and we should have it completed by summer. This is a financing that works similar to the way your redevelopment agencies used to work with incremental tax there. The property tax is to a special fund to help some of our financing. It's a very long-term project. I think it goes to 2080 financing, but at least it will give the county some money to finance some of the infrastructure. Anyway, so that's set up and it's just almost finished now. The engineering is just about done now. And we should have a report for you pretty soon on just what the costs are going to be and when we get started. I think at the best scenario would be starting at the end of the year. Could be the spring, but it's coming along now. Okay, I talked to the school district a couple of times within the last week about the senior meal program. They've had a spike in the meals. It's went from roughly about 17 meals a day to up to 54. So the county is going to finance those, and so they won't have to come out of their budget. We have some money from the CARES program that's for things like that. So I had left them a message today that the funding was in place and they would be reimbursed for the costs. And as long as their meals were higher than what they'd expected there, we would cover the cost. Okay, and then as you know, the federal government a few weeks ago put $96 million into our bank account that we didn't ask for. So we've tried to come up with a spending plan for this. This is supposed to be to cover COVID-19 expenses. This money is not to backfill loss of revenue, like for instance, loss of sales tax, but to cover all expenses. So today at our meeting, we put together an ad hoc committee to come up with ways to support, especially businesses. So there's a community support of $15 million, and this will be to help businesses that had lost money because of the virus, had to shut down. So I have, it's an ad hoc committee with our chairman Olson and also Terry Withrow, but each district has 2 appointments to that committee. So my two appointments were one from Bill Mattos from Newman and Anthony Canella from Ceres, used to be our state senator. So those are my two appointments there, and they're going to come up with a spending plan on for at least $15 million of it. There's also a component for the cities to cover the city's expenses for this COVID-19. And I'm not sure what your expenses are, but we've just taken $15 million and allocated the money by population. And we could adjust that later, but we just don't know what the expenses are. Newman's allocation is a little over $402,000. So that will be available to you so if to cover your costs. So if you've had costs for, protective equipment or anything that qualifies as a legitimate expense, you would be able to get reimbursed from that. And the CEO said he'd talked to the cities about that a little bit already. There are some federal guidelines on what can and can't use it for. And I believe there's posted on our website and frequently asked questions. So that's $15 million. And then there's another $30 million in the support for county departments. Like I say, this all has to be, expenses related to COVID-19. And we've actually spent 15 million of it already, and between testing and protective equipment and contact tracing and the extra people that we've had to put on just because of this. So we have about 15 million left. And we've already, like I say, already spent 15 million on this. And then there's $36 million that's in contingency reserve. And we just put it there because we're not sure what to do with it yet. But so it's there in reserve. Unless the federal government changes its mind, all this money has to be spent by the end of the year or it has to be given back. And that's a little tough because we don't know how long this is going to last. We can only reimburse ourselves for what we've already spent. So if we have any expenses next spring in testing or supplies or so, we wouldn't be able to get reimbursed unless they change the rules. And that is a possibility. This thing was rushed through Congress so quickly that, they hadn't really thought out everything very well. They didn't contact us at all on this. We were told that the $96 million was put in because the county was more than 500,000 people. We didn't know it was even coming until a few days before it was deposited. So this $96 million would help a lot. It'll help the cities, it'll help the county, and hopefully it'll help businesses that had losses. And the losses, I think, across the county for lost sales are substantial. Okay, so anyway, so that's the CARES Act funding. And as far as the healthcare task force, we still haven't been able to put together our health summit. I did talk to the West Side Theater today. They're still shut down. They're trying to open up for one of their programs or theater program, but I don't know. It's still on the prohibited list from the state. Most everything else is opening up. Friday, fitness centers and gymnasiums will be able to open, and bars and outdoor recreation. And the schools will be able to open up for the next year. But there's still a few things, large gatherings, and festivals, and theater is still technically not allowed. That I don't think they're really thinking about the West Side Theater the way it's set up with tables. It's more like a restaurant than a theater right now. Anyway, things are changing, from week to week on what's allowed and what isn't, and everything is really quite arbitrary. we never know what's going to change from week to week. But anyway, that's what it is up to today. And that's all I have. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try and answer them.
Any questions for Jim?
Glad to see him back.
Yeah, sorry, I had the Ceres City Council had their meeting last week at the same time as yours.
Oh,
I went to that because I had missed theirs the week before. It was because of the holiday that they moved from Monday to Tuesday. So there'll be more coming down about the city support that you have, but feel free to call the county if you have any questions. And yeah, if you can document, keep track of anything that you've spent, you'll get reimbursed all of that.
well, thank you, Jim.
Thanks.
Appreciate that. That's good news.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'll try and unmute myself, so I hope.
Okay, thank you. With that, we're going to move on to, excuse me, item 12, items from the city manager and staff.
Thank you, Mayor. So I just, I'd like to thank Jim and the county CEO, Mr. Hayes, and the rest of the board too. Them sharing that CARES Act money with their cities is very generous of them. Not all counties are doing that. So big kudos to Jim and the rest of the board for doing that. $402,000. I know Lou and I have already been looking at the federal guidelines to see what that money can be used for, and to cover some of the costs that we've already experienced, as well as some that we intend and expect to experience in the fall. As they're projecting this could come back to us in the fall, so we want to be ready just in case something does happen in the fall. So again, Lou and I will continue to comb through the CARES Act federal guidelines to make sure we are able to capture as much of that $402,000 as allowable. So thanks again, Jim.
Yeah.
Just a couple quick updates. We got a Prop 1. You approved an application today with that letter of support for the Prop 1 application. That's a $6.5 million application that we're looking to get a grant on. Also proud to say that we got a letter of support from Merced County. This project site is actually in Merced County. The Brazo Road Canal School site in Merced County. So they wrote us a very nice letter supporting us as well. We've been hearing good feedback from our consultants that the people at the state level really like our project. There's not a lot of these projects inland, which means outside the high mountain areas or outside the coastland, there's not a lot of these projects that are being developed. So very good chance that we're going to get funded on that project. So we're very excited about that. Just an update on COVID. Things are kind of stabilized with respect to COVID. It's been 17 days since our last positive confirmed test in the Newman area, and we've had 2 in the last 30 days. So our community is doing really well, responding to and protecting themselves against COVID and the spread and the transmission of COVID. So we're very excited about that. And then lastly, we probably mentioned this before, but we are in the process of processing a application for the Patchett's site. So everyone knows the Pigeon site at the corner of Kern and 33. We do it now, are in conversations, and we have some very preliminary comments for that developer. We're going to be meeting with them on Thursday via a conference call to kind of share our first thoughts with them. So we hope to be reporting something back to you real soon. That's going to be a longer process. It does have to go through Planning Commission. There does have to probably be a CEQA document. And because it's on Highway 33, we have to deal with Caltrans, which is never fun. Never fun.
Those are nice people.
Yeah, never fun to deal with Caltrans. So,
Yeah.
So with that, I just have one more thing. Councilmember Graham is not here today, but I'd like to wish him a happy birthday. Today is Councilmember Graham's birthday.
Oh,
And I'd like to offer up a happy birthday to our mayor, who will be having his birthday on Thursday of this week. So happy birthday, Mayor.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Man, we got a lot of guys in June, huh? My birthday is on the 15th.
Yeah, I'm trying to forget about these damn birthdays. Thank you, Michael. I appreciated that. No, I really do. I thank you for recognizing my birthday.
You guys. Okay, Mayor, that's all that I had.
Okay. Any questions for the city manager tonight? Okay. Being none, let's move on. Ally, are you there?
I'm here.
You got your big dog to protect you too.
I do. Good evening, Mayor, council members.
Good evening.
On my regards, not a lot to report, just waiting to see when we can open up and start getting sports back together. I am currently accepting registrations for soccer. That should take place in September. Now, granted, we're waiting to see if we can open up and have the league itself, and taking applications right now, as many as we can, just to get a good update of how many children are interested in parents in having them participate in our league this year. Other than that, it's pretty much coasting. I know that our CSO just reminded me to let you guys know, to just the public in general, make sure we're watering on our watering days, and avoid watering on Monday. Although we aren't necessarily in drought, we still have to be mindful of our watering days. With that, I can answer any questions you guys may have.
Any questions for Ally? Well, one of these days, Ally, you're going to come back with some of these big programs, and we're going to be out there doing. We're out there cooking hot dogs and everything else, and hamburgers, whatever. So,
I'm waiting for it. I'm itching. I'm ready to.
We're standing in the wings waiting.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much, Kelly. With that, Chief Richardson, are you on the line today? Okay.
I am. Good evening, Mayor, council
great.
members.
Good, Randy. Good to have you.
Just a quick update. Last couple weeks have been fairly busy for our police department. Most of you are probably aware that the Corporal Singh preliminary hearing is going on currently in court. I've spent the better part of last week going in and out of court, listening to testimony on the case, trying to support the family. Also, we've had a couple of very peaceful protests at the corner of 33 and Kern. You guys have probably seen. We also had a walk last Saturday. About 10 people came out for that, and they're planning one for this Saturday, which will include members of the police department, or at least myself, to show solidarity between the community and the police department. So with that, that's about all I have. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Randy.
Randy, we're very proud of you and your crew.
Thank you.
Amen. Okay, Lou, we've heard quite a bit from you tonight, but do you have anything else for us tonight?
I didn't have anything else, but if you had any questions on any items, I'd be happy to answer your questions.
No, I don't have any questions, but thank you for doing such a good job to keep us financially sound. We, you know, it's one thing that Newman's always been proud of, the fact that financially the city is a sound city, and that comes from your hands. You know, you've been a big part of that, and we appreciate that.
Right.
Thank you. It's also a lot of our staff that they're very frugal on their purchases and managing their budgets too. So,
well, I know that it's just like it takes a good city manager to hire a good financial director.
Thank you.
Anyway, thank you very much. With that, Catherine, are you on the line tonight?
Mayor Catherine is not with us tonight.
Okay, how about Chief Bowen?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I just got a couple of things. This weekend will be our live fire training out at the Crow's Landing Air Base. So you'll see some smoke, and you'll see a bunch of fire engines out there training. So expect that. And then also we're projecting an increase in fire weather over the next couple of days. So we're just preparing for that. Other than that, business as usual, and I can answer any questions you might have.
Was there a bad fire yesterday up toward Wesley or somewhere over in there?
Correct. So we did provide mutual aid through the West Stanislaus County Fire Protection District, just north of Sperry. Crews were committed for approximately 5 hours. The projected acreage was just under 100 acres, if I remember correctly. You probably saw some large aircraft dropping water. The highway, I think, slowed down to 1 lane. Yes, we did. And then we also had a fatal motorcycle accident on Hills Ferry, just outside of our county limits there, just on the other side of the river.
Well, thank you, Chief. Any questions for the chief tonight? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now we'll move on to the council. Leroy, do you have anything for us tonight?
No, but I'm getting tired of being sheltered in.
Yeah.
I have not. Just God bless you guys. Have a great evening.
Okay, God bless you too, Leroy. And with that, Nick, do you have anything for us tonight?
No, I just want to tell the chief, the police chief, and the police department, thank you for all you do, and the fire department, also Chief Bowen and your crew, same thing, all the first responders, and so we are blessed to have these 2 departments.
Yes, we are.
Yes, amen to that.
That's all I got.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Murray, do you have anything for us tonight?
Just that over the past few days, I've been, I go down to the post office, wear my mask, and I've noticed that a lot of people in town are not wearing their masks. We do not need to have this coronavirus kick off again. So please, people, be safe, respect your neighbor, and wear your mask.
Yeah. Amen on that one.
Yeah, I completely agree. And of course, I tell people, if you're my age, you're going to be damn sure you have that mask on.
Right.
Got it right.
Right.
Anyway, thank you. Thank you, Mary. I don't have anything other than I'd like to echo what Nick has just said. You know, we have great people in the city of Newman, fire protection, police protection, the city itself, keeping us, you know, so we're a fine city, and we're all proud of what goes on in the city. And with that, I'm going to ask for adjournment.
So move.
Motion to adjourn. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0. 1 absent. We are adjourned.
Good night, you all.
Good night, everyone.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.